We have news now to report involving our own network. News to us here at CNN and you at home. CNN's chairman and CEO, Chris Licht, is leaving the network. Licht took over the network a little over a year ago. David Zaslav, the chairman of CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, he just made the announcement at the network editorial meeting.
All right, breaking in the final minutes of yesterday's program, Chris Licht is out as CEO of CNN. Joining us now is Peabody Award winner, former CNN, MSNBC, and Fox anchor Rick Sanchez, and managing editor of Newsbusters, Curtis Houck. And here in studio with us is the host of the Front and Center podcast, entertainment PR and media expert Jacquie Jordan. All right, good morning, everyone. Rick, I want to get to you first, your reaction to this as a former CNN anchor.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Things have been dismal there for the last year during his administration, and I think things at CNN need to be figured out by somebody who is an adult real quick. But, you know, and maybe this is a part of the conversation the four of us can have, along the way, we are going to need to figure out the nature of cable news and how it even fits as an outlet communicatively in the world we live in today, because I think that's still in and of itself, I think that still is in and of itself in flux.
Yeah, I think you're so right, Rick, because I remember, Jacquie, you know, cable news when it started and CNN, it would be on in the airports, and CNN they were the breaking news network. People went to them to watch the news, and things have really shifted now. You've got that mix of opinion news and you have news, but then that opinion flows into regular news outlets. And then, so we have this piece that the Atlantic did on Chris Licht about his reign. And obviously there was a lot of backlash about that. He talked about having former President Trump in the CNN town hall. Do you think that was basically the straw that broke the camel's back and why CNN decided to let him go?
Well, acknowledging all your points, you know, when Ted Turner brought CNN, a 24-hour news network, on air, we all thought that really 24 hours worth of news, we would want to watch that because we only knew news at prime time after dinner. And yes, I believe the Donald Trump town hall was definitely a cause for he did the right thing in the way that it was celebratory because Donald Trump is their biggest asset. However, it was scandalous for what CNN represents.
Right, you're right. And Curtis, I mean, the ratings for when Donald Trump was on there, I mean, everybody wanted to tune in, but then there was that backlash internally, a lot of people unhappy. But also, you know, there's a lot of people still at CNN. So how do you change the network if you still have people there who aren't on board with the changes? And how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, Allison, I think that was Chris Licht's biggest problem. He wanted to create a wholesale culture change of where you actually cover the news again. You know, you cover all sorts of stories. Republicans feel like they can come on the show without being yelled at or seen as public enemy number one. But you know, he still had a lot of people that he didn't get rid of that were loyal to Jeff Zucker's way of doing the news, where they thought how they handled themselves during the Trump presidency was not only something that was, you know, nothing was wrong with it, but something that we should laud them for, that we should praise them for. And because he didn't make those wholesale changes, he had those problems because he had people that didn't want to buy into his culture. So that's a question for Warner Brothers Discovery. Do they want to keep going down that path of bringing CNN back to the center, or do you want to go back to the way Jeff Zucker was?
Yeah, and the ratings weren't good then either. Former CNN reporter Brian Stelter fired by Licht last year. So he wrote an opinion piece yesterday saying CNN was great in the 90s, but it can't bring that era back. So, Rick, what do you think CNN wants to be? To Curtis's point, I think they have a lot of things to figure out. What is their brand? And I think viewers, once you lose them, it's really hard to get them back.
Well, I should just say that I was a part of that era, and my show, Rick's List on CNN, probably by itself tripled the average of what CNN is doing today when it comes to ratings. Unfortunately, in cable news, ratings don't matter. What matters are subscribers. So what you have is a system that doesn't feed off of having to please its consumer base. It essentially feeds off of something else because, as we saw in other cases in recent firings, no matter how high your ratings are, it doesn't matter. You have to fit a business structure to please whatever community in the business structure you're trying to fit. That's not the way journalism used to be. That's not the way it was born. That's not the way our dads and granddads' community newspapers that they woke up and read every morning were like. But unfortunately, that's the prism that we all live under today. And CNN, unfortunately, doesn't know which way to go. It has a team of journalists. Well, let me take that back. It has a team of on-air people. Some are journalists.
Yeah.
And many of them are very elitist, and they all come from the very same place. And so are the elders who used to look at my scripts and edit them when I worked there for a long period of time, who also come from that world. I don't think they understand the new America, the America that we're in right now. And I think that's an important part of what they also need to figure out.
Yeah, a great point. Jacquie, I do want to quickly move on to Fox News now. So they are claiming that Tucker Carlson breached his contract when he released his new show on Twitter. What do you make of this?
Surprise, not surprise?
Yeah.
Totally expected. I figured that the strategy for taking Tucker Carlson out was to quiet him, to not be able to do anything for pre-elections, keep him quiet to the presidential elections. And I probably will go full tilt in trying to keep him censored and quiet. And I think Tucker Carlson is doing the right thing by being out there. In fact, I'm excited that he took on Twitter. I would have been just as happy if he just did it from his own living room and kept on doing a show.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought he would do his own podcast or do something
like Megyn Kelly.
Like Megyn Kelly. I did see, millions of people obviously viewed his latest video on Twitter. He has a ton of followers, so we'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Jacquie, thank you so much, Curtis and Rick. Appreciate it. Great conversation today.